you are enjoying Unity of Kona, consider making a monthly donation to our ministry. And if we can help you with any spiritual needs, whether through prayer support, continuing education, or other assistance, please contact us at unityofkona@gmail.com. Thank you. If you are in
E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai kai ki mai luna mai, ona mea huna no awe mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai. E ho mai kai ki mai luna mai, ona mea huna no awe mele e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai kai ki mai luna mai, ona mea huna no awe mele e. Hele hoi akala o Mauka o Kona, hele hoi o Makai, mainland, wherever you come from. Welcome to Unity Church of Kona, here at Kailua, Kona, Hawaii, and another beautiful day. Happy Independence Day, everybody, as we get started with our service. Thank you, God, and so it is. And as we like to start our service with prayer, we'll start with a prayer for the season. For I am one in Christ with all people, for we all are children of God. I focus on this truth as I pray that all people know freedom. I see the human race as a family, occupying the same home, planet Earth, and united in spirit regardless of race, religion, or place of origin. I envision that all families are free to know safety and security, practice their faith in exuberance and openness, and pursue their dreams and goals without obstacles. I behold each member of my human family with love and dignity. I value their freedom as I value my own. I affirm that equality and acceptance are replacing separation and prejudice. I am grateful for the peace, cooperation, understanding that spring from freedom. And I affirm peace and freedom for all people now. And so it is. Amen. And as we like to get started with our service with the affirmation for the month, if you'd like to please stand as we'll all do this together. The affirmation for the month of July, be understanding. Together, I use the power of understanding, and my world is filled with peace and love. And so it is. And as we're all standing up, let's do our opening song, Stand Together by Faith Rivera. If I get some singers on board. Here we go. Welcome, Vince.
Something great is happening, love is taking hold and it won't let go of us now. Something here is calling us forward, upward motions, we're drops in one ocean, roll on. Will you rise up with me today? Lift up your voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live the dream of the highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference, let's stand together. Share gifts for the world that's waiting, for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness, let's stand together now. Ooh, oh, oh. Every day's a chance we can do something amazing, to feel your passion blazing and shine. Paint with every vision and dance in new directions, explode to new heights in your mind. I will rise up with you today, lift up my voice and boldly say, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Live a dream of the highest calling, be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference, let's stand together. Share gifts for the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now. Ooh, oh, oh. Mm-hmm. One dream, one voice, one heart, one world, one dream, one voice, one heart, one world.
Stand together.
One dream,
Stand.
one voice,
Stand.
one heart,
Stand.
one world.
Stand together.
Live a dream and the highest calling. Be the hope of a new day dawning. We're the ones who can make a difference. Let's stand together. Share gifts for the world that's waiting for a change that we're all creating. It's a moment for our greatness. Let's stand together now.
And as we're all standing, reach over and say hi to everybody in the sanctuary. And if you're joining us online service, please do leave a comment so we can formally greet everybody, guests and visitors, with a great big aloha and God bless you. Welcome, my friends. What a glorious day this morning. Excuse me there. And as we get started with our service, first of all, we're a few announcements to go over. But first thing is first, and we are a prayer ministry, so you can download the You Pray app. And now with this You Pray app, we all know that prayer works in our lives. You can download it and receive, with that app on your phone, all kinds of prayer requests, submissions, and also direct response from Silent Unity. And if you choose to, you can receive a response from them. And in addition, you can listen to short meditations, view many different affirmations. Or you can please do call the church at 808-322-0885 and or send an email to unityofkona@gmail.com. There are prayer request forms. They're on the back counter in the back in the box for prayer requests. And so we all know that prayer works in our lives. So please fill out a request and we'll be prayed over here in the sanctuary and then sent on to Silent Unity for the 30 consecutive days of prayer. And we all need prayer, so we all need to use the tools that we have. And with that, I have a few more announcements. We have congratulations for our new team member of the month, Clyde Hall. Thank you, Clyde. Mahalo, Clyde, for your loving service and your devotion to our ministry. We are blessed to have you here at the Unity of Kona. And so you've helped us in our daily word reading and also cleaning here at the sanctuary, decorating the sanctuary. And Clyde has offered his help to video and media service team as a bright, shining light to everybody who comes into contact with them, and we really appreciate your presence. And so we're grateful for your spirit of aloha and your willingness to serve. So thank you, mahalo, and we all love you, Clyde. And being the first Sunday of the month, birthday Sunday. And so, well, happy birthday to everybody with a birthday in the month of July. And so we'd like to acknowledge everybody in this month, but by celebrating and wishing everybody this fun year filled with many blessings. We'd like to especially acknowledge from our own ohana, Clyde Hall and Dandi Nueva. Happy birthday, you guys. Ha'oli laha now. And so important notice is that the team members need to be need some time. So we're taking some vacations here in July and August. So we need team members to fill in while we're away. This summer, our AV team will be taking some vacations and off island on the same weekends. And so we need team members, and maybe this means you, to please step up, volunteer to learn to operate the video equipment, and while we're all off island. And if you already know how to use an iPad or a computer, well, you're already 90% of the way there to knowing how to do this. It's fairly easy, and Patrick and Craig and myself are here to help as we get organized for the services to be continued. And since the broadcast is a very important part of our ministry, it is imperative that we maintain our online presence during this absences. So mahalo for your help during this time of need, and you can contact us here at the church, unityofkona@gmail.com, and the subject line, volunteers. Or possibly just let one of the board members know and that you're willing to cover for us. So we appreciate that. Thank you. And in addition to the vacation of the audio video, we also visual. We also welcome team members for singing, playing, music, greeting, platform assistance, and reading the daily word. So if you're interested at all in coming up here and participating in the service, we definitely welcome any support we could get as our church is now reopened and we're trying to get more people in here. So come on back, my friends, because we're here and it's all about the freedom to be here. So thank you for that. We're staying the course right now in our Sunday services, though. We're requiring the guidelines with social distancing, seating arrangements, properly wearing the mask to cover the nose. And so as we continue to take temperatures, obtaining signed release forms, and requesting that all social distancing be done outside the church, we appreciate you bearing with us together at this time as we navigate through these challenges. So we also reserve the right to make any necessary changes as the situation changes. Our board of directors wants to keep everyone safe while also allowing as much time as possible for our church, ohana, to safely see one another here at the church. And so with that, I believe that's all my announcements. We had a really great workshop last week. I want to make sure everybody gets that. That was the gardening, plant seeds of goodness. There it is. Planting seeds of goodness. And it was really fun out here in the yard, and we had a lot of people show up, and it was a really great event. So these events that we're putting on here after church have been really welcomed, and people are coming in just for those events. So you guys know there are events coming up, and so please check your newsletter for the coming up events and join us here at the church with that. And at this time, I've asked Virginia to come up and do the daily word. So if you would, Virginia, welcome, aloha.
Good morning. Start talking. Thank you. Wrong lesson. I went to the wrong page. Sunday, July the 4th, 2021. Today is Independence Day. And the lesson is freedom. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. There are many ways to feel free. I may work hard to become financially free. I may plan trips so I can freely explore the world. I may commit to learning for intellectual freedom or exercise my body for greater freedom of movement. Even as I do my work in the world to know freedom, I remember that I am always free at the level of spirit. No situation or circumstance has power over me. Every day and every area of my life, I live from a divine nature where I am wholly and completely free. Through my inner powers of understanding and faith, I recognize and embrace beliefs, my spiritual gifts of strength and release keeps me on course and helps me free myself from habits that derail my spiritual growth. Through God, my spiritual growth, through God within, I am grateful to be free. The verse comes from Galatians, the 5th chapter, and the first verse. It is for freedom, Christ has set us free. Join me in saying today's word. Freedom in thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. And so it is. And with freedom on our minds, let's visualize the sanctuary at this time. And as you take a moment to visualize the sanctuary, please visualize the sanctuary of your soul. See this as a beautiful, beautiful heart. And as you feel the loving energy of those around you flowing in and through you, see that loving energy flowing around every person, every being on this earth and in this world. And if you know of anyone in your life or in this world in need of prayers, see them in the center of this most beautifully created heart as we say together our prayer for protection. For the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Amen. Now is the music portion of our service where we'll ask Dondi Nueva to come up. Happy birthday, Dondi. Do some music for us. And if you guys know, just please do sing along.
Thank you, Jim. First of all, I'd like to recognize all of the veterans. I know we have some veterans here. Could I have you raise your hand if you're a veteran? Doc, okay. I know Doc is a veteran of the Marine Corps, correct, Doc? Yeah. I'm also a veteran of the United States Air Force. So I would like to thank all of the veterans and their families and their significant others because I'm sure they support us in all ways. And so, thank you. Let me see if I can get through this song. For those of you that don't know the story behind the Star Spangled Banner, I suggest you pull it up and listen to how the Star Spangled Banner came about. I am going to sing the Star Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you so much, Dondi. I'm moved. I got chicken skin. It's an amazing thing to think about our freedom and the blessings that we share unconscious are the blessings of freedom. And we just take these things for granted, and we support and recognize all of our servicemen and of all branches of service and all their families that actually are giving just as much service as the servicemen. So thank you for your support, and we're truly honored to be living free here in America. So with that, it's time to introduce our guest speaker today. She's coming, Reverend Sophia Folke, and she's coming to us live via the Zoom from Las Vegas, Nevada. And Reverend Sophia Folke thinks that you are amazing, and that's what she says to anybody who will listen to her. And Reverend Sophia is a senior minister at the Unity Churches of Las Vegas, Nevada, and of Greater Boston area. And so she currently has an alternative ministry called Embracing Greatness, International Unity, through Unity Worldwide Ministries, where she offers coaching, seminars, and audio and written inspirations. Reverend Sophia embraces the concept of greatness, and as an inherent presence in every one of us, and invites you to embrace your greatness and express or press it out, that greatness, to be a beacon and inspiration to raise up all of humanity. So this year she's celebrating her 20th anniversary, 20th year as an ordained Unity minister, and can't imagine anything other than being a minister and teaching and demonstrating our Unity principles. So let's all welcome together with Reverend Sophia Falke. Thank you, Reverend Sophia.
Woo! What a wonderful greeting. Thank you. Can you all hear me all right? Good, good. All right, so what a beautiful day we have today. This is the day that the Lord in it. So I invite you all to sit back in your chairs and become one with the chair. Have your feet solidly on the ground so that you can be grounded into this beautiful earth. As you close your eyes to go within, take 3 deep breaths. And the first one, to breathe in the light and the love of God, and allow that to flow through every cell and tissue of your body, bringing healing anywhere that you might be feeling disease. And then when you exhale, release any discomfort that is in your body. So the first deep breath. And the next breath, again, breathing in the light and the love that is God, and allowing it to permeate every thought, every emotion, lifting you to a higher level. And when you exhale, exhale any distress you might be feeling. Then the fourth breath, or third breath, simply because we can. Breathe in that life-giving oxygen. And as you continue to breathe deeply and purposefully, feel that quieting presence that descends upon you just by breathing. Today is our Independence Day. So I invite you to go within and find those areas in your life where you would like independence. Bring them to mind. And surround them with light. Infuse them with the light of God. And as you do so, observe how the vibration starts to increase as you infuse God's light into whatever might be holding you back. As that vibration continues to rise and increase, notice how it's getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And now release it. It's gone. And having released this again, bring into mind an affirmation from the daily word today. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. And know that in this moment, with your own personal declaration, you have freed yourself from at least one limiting thought, at least one limiting emotion, at least one limiting belief. And as you go forward in this week, I invite you to come back to this moment and reconnect with this release exercise and anything else that might come up in your thoughts and your emotions that you want to release. Infuse them with the light of God and watch them release. And know that you are the light and the love of God. So let's take this final moment in meditation and take that light and love and radiate it out to bless each other within the unity of Kona's sanctuary walls and beyond to the entire city and the island of Hawaii, then crossing all oceans to bless all people of the world. Where there's darkness, distress, anger, frustration, feelings of helplessness or hopelessness, shine your light, radiate your love. And know that in this moment, you have blessed the life of someone you will probably never meet. But you have shown them that there is hope and that there is light. So gently return to this room, return to your surroundings, knowing that you make a difference. Let's open our eyes as you feel comfortable. Look around and bless each other with your eyes and your love. So it is. Okay. So happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. This is absolutely my favorite federal holiday of the year. And I think by the time we get to the end of today's lesson, you will have figured out why it's my favorite. The first story. There was a teacher with preschool class, and she was taking the opportunity just before July 4th to share with them how they are living in a country that's free. And she said, how fortunate we all are to be free. And as soon as she said the word free, little boy stood up from the back of the class, stomped to the front of the room, stood in front of her with his hands on his hips, and he said, "I'm not free, I'm for." But as a nation, we are not for. We're actually 245 years old this year. Isn't that amazing? I think we look pretty good for 245. What do you think? But we began as a series of frustrations and anger as a minority citizenry with a dream. And it was an odd coalition of, a ragtag army and a group of visionary colonial aristocrats. So let's start near the beginning with the Declaration of Independence. Now, we're going to read parts of it this morning, and I invite you to think how it applies to your life today in 2021. And as you do so, consider government as a belief system, a way of viewing the world, and your personal governing thought process. Consider your own life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And is it all that you would like it to be? And consider what statement or affirmation you would be willing to make for your own life to declare your own independence from lack, limitation, and suffering. I invite you to sit back, close your eyes, and really, really listen to the words as Jim Carrey reads from our Declaration of Independence.
Thank you, Reverend Sophie.
Are you ready, Jim?
Yes. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous decision of the 13th United States of America. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature's God entitled them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such a form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed with light or transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariable the same objective evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right in their duty to throw off such governments and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. There's a section in this Declaration of Independence that cites all the grievances against King George. We won't read them this morning. Instead, let's go on to the final passages of this declaration. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the restitude of our intentions due, in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all alliances with the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought be totally dissolved, and that the free and independent states that have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance in the protection of the divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Signed by the 13 states, United States of America.
Thank you, Jim. So what has this got to do with our spiritual journey? I mean, why am I having Jim read a political document, actually, in a church? I'm so glad you asked. Let's start at the beginning. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We had already been at war for over a year. So why write the Declaration of Independence now? The truth is, not everyone in the colonies supported separating from the British Crown. About 25% of the country were loyalists, 40% were patriots, and the rest were not committed either way. So in essence, the patriots were in the minority. And for that reason, this declaration needed to be clear and succinct. It needed to inspire others, not only within the colonies, but possible allies outside of the United Colonies to support us. Jesus said that you only need a mustard seed, the faith of a mustard seed. I would say that the Declaration of Independence was that seed. In May, we spoke about the power of power and how when the power within, the God within you, that it is greater than the ego self, man in the world. And when you grasp that power inside, nothing in the outer world can impact you. Last month, we discussed how imagination is essential for creating the life you love. I'd say our Declaration of Independence is a mighty, mighty imaging document. And this month, our power is understanding. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said that there are two ways of getting understanding. One is by following the guidance of spirit that dwells within, and the other is to go blindly ahead and learn by hard experience. When we look at the Declaration of Independence, we can see evidence of an indwelling spirit guiding our country's founders. The Declaration was inviting the world to consider was inviting the world to consider the validity of speaking up and even rebelling when conditions become unbearable and could no longer be borne or tolerated. Where have things in your life perhaps become intolerable? Are there things happening right now that you think it's time to speak up and declare your independence? It might be in a relationship that was abusive. How about a work environment that is no longer bearable? Or maybe it's a situation where you just can no longer be in good conscience to continue. And as you separate yourself from the unpleasant condition, have you not found that yourself needing to explain to others why you took that action? So in your case, the political bans might be an employment agreement or a marriage contract, someone you voted into office, or simply a belief system or thought process that is limiting you and no longer serves you. Do you now want to throw off the yoke of that type of oppression? And do you want the support of others as you take this brave step forward? Especially when those closest to you tell you you're crazy, or as we used to say in the Northeast, are you nuts? You know, as someone who's been told on many occasions that she's crazy, and, that resonates with me to make that statement of independence and to explain to the world why I'm doing it. How about you? Have you ever been in a situation where you were willing to step out of the suffering and finally say, enough? And have you felt compelled to declare your own independence? After all, didn't Jesus say, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open to you? Isn't it so much easier when you have the support of others, when you step out like that? And when you explain to them the why of your actions, don't you find that they're more supportive? Don't you find that you are more energized? So, and in the declaration, they call upon God. And how much more powerful is it for you and me to call upon God? And a higher power as we declare our own independence. As we do this, and the founders they claimed the laws of nature and of nature's God to validate the rightness of their decision. So this is how we expand. This is how we excel and rise above seemingly impossible odds. Because to me, what the Patriots did was impossible when you think about it. How this, ragtag group of patriots were able to overcome the power of the British Empire. Now, the next passage is probably the most powerful affirmation of the entire Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These truths are self-evident. Who says so? Certainly not the monarchs and dictators of that time, and actually of modern day. Certainly not the overbearing boss or corporate leader or spouse or politician who wants absolute power over you and wants to keep you and me compliant and quiet. But there is a higher power than any man. It is God, our Creator. And because we are created in the image and likeness of God, remember in Genesis, okay, we are all equal. I'll pause right here and acknowledge that in our country, we still have a lot of work to do regarding equality. And I don't know what the intention was when the Declaration was written, when our founders, and I believe they were all landed gentry, I mean, they all owned property. And initially, only those who had property could vote, and only men could vote, and only white men could vote. So perhaps they were saying that only white men who owned land were equal. I don't know. But I do know that the statement still has power because whatever the initial intention is, it states that all men are created equal. And that's, as a nation, what we must strive for. Today, if we were to write that same statement, we would be saying all men and women are created equal, regardless of ethnicity, race, or sexual orientation. And all of us have inalienable rights to life, to liberty, and to pursue happiness. When they wrote the Declaration, I think they meant inalienable to mean valid, lawful, and reasonable. But here again, they mention God. So they are also calling on a higher spiritual power. So you're getting the gist here that throughout our Declaration of Independence, we're calling upon something greater than our ego selves. You know, they were definitely raising the bar, not only for themselves, but for the world. I mean, life wasn't just that you're breathing and you have blood flowing through your veins. Life is a fullness of experience, possibility, and hope. Liberty is freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and freedom of activity. And then happiness. Happiness is a state of being you can experience when you are free and unrestrained. Our founders were basically stating the truth of what it means to be a fully expressed human being. Remember that Jesus said that truth will set you free. It is something we must remember in each experience. Are you being true to your authentic self? Are you naming, claiming, and proclaiming your right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, as our founding fathers did? Or are you settling in some area of your life? The Declaration continues that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Remember how I invited you to consider that governments can also mean thought processes and beliefs? So when the Declaration says that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. It's inviting you to look at your own life. Is there an area in your life where your personal government or your belief system is holding you back from living your life to its fullest? You know, that word happiness showed up again. Where are your belief systems keeping you from being happy? You know, I wrote a book called Embracing Greatness, A Guide for Living the Life You Love. In it, I ask what beliefs, what self-doubt, what self-limiting thoughts of lack and limitation hold you back from, number one, figuring out what is the life you love. And I've discovered that a lot of people don't really know what that looks like. What is the life I would love? They don't have a clue. And number two, What holds you back from going for your dream once you identify it? Is that what they were doing in 1776? People were getting in touch with their dreams, identifying the factors that kept them from reaching those dreams. And they spell out the conditions under which we need to make changes. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shewn that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Mankind is more disposed to suffer. Does that resonate with anybody? How many people would rather suffer because it's the devil they know rather than the devil out there that they don't know? Even if they're uncomfortable and they're suffering, they're afraid to start anew. The writers of our Declaration of Independence address that also when they say, but when a long train of abusive usurpations, and by the way, I looked up usurpations for you. It means wrongful or illegal encroachment, infringement, or seizure. Isn't that beautiful? I think we should put that word back in our vocabularies. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, and this is a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. You know, the patriots had finally had enough. They drew their line in the sand. Can you think of the situation where you had enough of a painful situation? You know, where you're, you know, maybe it's an abusive relationship, maybe it's a job where you've been afraid to leave because the pay and the benefits are so good. You know, maybe it's simply enough of doing things the old way and being willing to take that first courageous step into the unknown. You know, there are people who are terrified of moving through their pain. And you might have had that experience. But you know, when that dream is strong enough, you're willing to let go of the fears. You're really willing to let go of the uncertainty and to step forward anyway, because that dream is drawing you forward. That's what our declaration was doing. It was a dream that was drawing our nation forward. And you know, when you do that,
when you work through the pain, you emerge stronger, happier, healthier, and more resilient than ever once you do the work. You know, but to move forward, you need to heal the hurts, the beliefs, and the experiences that hold you back. And it isn't easy to go through the dark nights of the soul. But in the suffering, in the courageous steps moving forward into the unknown, and the willingness to face your fears, that's when the transformation occurs. Is it worth it? I believe it is. Just as our nation, as our founding fathers, believed it was worth going through all the pain and suffering that many experienced during the war. There's so much more we could discuss with the meaning of the Declaration of Independence and how it applies to our modern lives. It is imbued with truth principles that have endured 245 years. And if we fulfill the promise of the Declaration of Independence, it will endure and inspire for many more years. The declaration ends with this final affirmation and statement of faith. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be, free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. My question to you this morning is, where in your life are you willing to declare your own independence and to proclaim to yourself, to your God, and to the world the greatness that you truly are, the greatness that you are meant to be? And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Sophia. What an honor to share Independence Day with you from Las Vegas. And so as we celebrate our freedom, remember, freedom isn't free. It comes with responsibility. In Hawaiian, that's your kuleana. And so your freedom takes righteousness in your responsibility, and in the whole phrase, kuleana ikapono. So be righteous in your responsibilities as we all work towards freedom. Thank you again, Reverend Sophia. Oh, what a blessing to be here and free. And as we get ready to move on in our service, it's time for gifts and offerings, offertory prayer. So take your gifts in your hands, and as we hold these tithes and offerings in support of our ministry, there are many ways in which you can make your donations, in which we are all abundantly grateful. These ways are going to appear here up on the screen for those of you attending in this church. The tithing bowl is in the back sanctuary there on the table. And so if you prefer to also place your hands in your gifts at this time, and as we join together and say the offertory blessing now on the screen. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am abundantly prosperous in every way. And so it is. Thank you, God. And now we have some more music coming live with Dondi. Thank you, Dondi, for sharing your talent. Time, inspiration. I don't know how you're going to top the last song, but you go for it.
This was kind of a surprise for me to play today. I think Joe was scheduled to play today, but he had something that came up, so he called us last night and said, can you guys fill in for me? So anyway. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, shining sea. Oh, beautiful for your praying feet, whose stern impassioned tread for thoroughfare for freedom hill across the wilderness. America, America, God mending every flaw, confirm thy sound and self-commit liberty and law. Sorry, I can't read. Oh, beautiful for patriot dreams and seas beyond the year. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human peers. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Darnie. And now it's time to bless these offerings. And so as we hold them in our thoughts and prayers through Spirit, we know that as we give, so shall we receive. And now we dedicate and consecrate these gifts to do your will and your work in this ministry, in our lives, and in our community. And so it is. Amen. Well, today we'd like to hold each other in our hearts as we'll finish up our closing songs, Let There Be Peace on Earth and Aloha Oi. And in closing, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here, and tune back next week because we definitely will be here. So please feel free to tell your friends about this Facebook event. And as the services will remain viewable on Unity Kona Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn, next Sunday guest speaker is Reverend Eric Page, and his topic, Your Divine Sovereignty. It pulls from Isaiah 61:1, which proclaims, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because the Lord has anointed me." It is a message for us to claim our rightful status and autonomy. So music next week should be Joe Condi, and so please join us after service for the virtual social hour immediately after. Reiki and sound healing in the yard coming up on the 11th, and so the 11th was next Sunday. So next Sunday, join us for the workshop, Reiki and sound healing in the yard. And so please absolutely come along and join us for this. If you don't come for nothing else, come for the light we share. And we'll finish up with our closing songs.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And as we embrace our freedoms this week especially, hold these thoughts of love and freedom in your hearts. Jump off the diving board and be free. So thank you, God. Aloha Oi.
Aloha.
Aloha Oi. Aloha Oi. Eke ona ona no i kalipo. One fond
we meet again.
Hui ho and aloha. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Donnie, you got a little more for us in the music way? Or okay, just one more. Hey, you had one out there earlier.
Euli wako, kamaka kolima, mekugi no e, ke aloha mahinde. E hope mako, e hope mako, kamaka kolima, mekugi no e. Ke aloha mahinde. E hope mako, e hope mako, komaka kolima, me kuki no e. Ke aloha mahe, Haina oi mai, euli mako, komaka kolima, me kuki no e. Ke aloha mahinde, haina oi mai, haina oi mai, euli mako, komaka kolima, me kuki no e. Ke aloha mahinde. Thank you, Jim.